Hey, Shawnee from SpeedCubeReview.com. It's 2017, so let's do the mega comparison for 5x5. Now, this is being recorded at the beginning of 2017, so most likely there'll be 5x5s coming out throughout the next year. And if you don't see those cubes here, check the reviews in the channel and you'll probably see a full review right there. Now, I'm going to talk over a little bit about each one and then what I think is nice ones to get. So if you want to jump to that part at the very end, you can see that timestamp in the description. So first, let's just talk about Chi Yi Cube. There was a, more simple designed one that was out there, but they now have the Whoosh Wang. The Whoosh Wang is a bit smaller than some other cubes. It is 62 millimeters and feels quite small in the hands if you're used to larger 5x5s. It's a little more controllable, a little bit more solid feeling, very smooth. One thing this has going for it is that if it doesn't cut, it kind of just stops itself. It's not gonna really misalign or pieces fly out. I've seen videos where this thing cuts over or at 45 degrees. I have not gotten that to happen, but it still does cut very well. Now we're going to jump to Moryu and YJ cubes, and there's quite a few of them out there. So the ones that I have that are main for Moryu are the Huashwang, the Boshwang, and the Weishwang GTS. Also here, I have the Yushwang, which is more technically a YJ cube, and the MF5S. These ones are more in the budget line, but I'll talk about those in a second. After the Huashwang, they started switching to larger outer layers, so this was the last one that Moryu did that had those smaller inner layers. It was very stable, very smooth. The Boshwang came out, and it still had that stability, and it was a little bit slow, but cut really well and definitely set a new standard for how the 5x5s should feel. During that time, they came out with the Yushwang, and this was more YJ, but honestly, it feels like a Huashwang, and even the older one, the Aoshwang, because it can misalign a bit more, has the smaller outer layers. Very nice, very light, nothing too extreme. Moryu then came out with the Huashwang GTS, and this one feels very nice. It's quite smooth. I have definitely put quite a bit of lube in this just to slow it down a little bit because it was really fast. It can corner cut very well and just has a nice feeling. It feels like a nice little upgrade from the Boshwang, a little more flexible than the Boshwang was. The MF5S has a similar look to it, similar weight, almost feels a little bit heavier. You can tell the plastic's just a little bit thinner, a little bit scratchier feel to it. Now there's the Cyclone Boys G5, it's often called. It's the Cyclone Boys 5x5, and everything turns very smooth. It's reminiscent of the Moryu Aoshwang, which it was much better than the Shingshu 5x5, but it could misalign a little bit. I've put this on a little bit tighter tensions to prevent that. Overall, nice, simple, and stable feeling 5x5. One of the cheaper ones you can get in Stickerless. There's the Shangsha 5x5, which was then replaced by the Wind and then by the Aurora. And the Wind and Aurora are very similar, and honestly, I like the Wind a little bit better. Extremely smooth, extremely fast as well. Corner cuts decent, nothing like the ones from Moryu. I actually know some people who liked using this cube. They know that it doesn't corner cut quite as well, but the smoothness and stability is just really incredible. Something that I feel like I could give this to someone who is extremely rough turning and it would not pop on them. They do have a mini 5x5, which is the smallest 5x5 that I would use that really works. Had a couple pops on here, but definitely a fun one to travel around with. Lastly, we have the Yushin 5x5, and this thing is very fast. This is even more flexible than the Weishwang GTS, and just very fast cube, very almost scratchy, papery feel to it. Out of all these cubes we just talked about, what should you get? The three major players are the Yushin 5x5, the Weishwang GTS, and the Wushwang from Qi. The Wushwang is the smallest of them, and the GTS is just about a 0.5 millimeter larger than the Yushin one. So if you like smaller cubes, that's the way to go. If you like larger feeling cubes, the GTS is the way to go. As far as stability, the Wushwang is much more stable and a little bit slower, followed by the GTS, which is a little more flexible and a little bit faster, and then the Yushin, which is even more flexible and even faster. Now, you can pretty much get the exact same times on all of these, so those are the major factors for deciding which one to get. I always like more controllable and stable cubes, but you could break world records with any of these. If you want something that is cheaper but still works well, the MF5S would pretty much be the way to go. I think if it was earlier last year, I would recommend the Cyclone boys, but the MF5S is just a little bit nicer than that, especially with these larger outer layers. So like I said, there's probably going to be more cubes coming out in the next year, but these are the big ones right now. If you have any thoughts or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and as always, stop by speedcubeview.com for more news and reviews.